In this video, we're going to learn how to conjugate the irregular verbs ir, dar, and ESTAR. Generally, I don't present these three verbs together because they are different. However, they do have some things in common that do merit us seeing them together. So let's get started. You'll notice that DAR and ESTAR are AR verbs, and therefore they have the regular AR endings that we have already looked at in our previous videos. If you are unfamiliar with this six-place chart, take a look at conjugating the AR verbs in Spanish, and then take a look at the ER and IR videos that I have already posted. You can shut this off and go see those first, so this will make sense to you. Okay, so we know that our regular endings for our AR verbs are the following. So here they are. Our regular endings are O for yo, as for tú, a for usted, él, and ella. Amos, on the plural side, is for nosotros. Ais for vosotros. And of course, you know that I've always said you don't have to know the vosotros form. And an for ustedes, ellos, and ellas. So the dar and ESTAR verbs follow this very, very closely. Let's take a look at the forms for these three verbs, ir, dar, and ESTAR. Okay, the verb ir means to go. The verb dar means to give, and the verb ESTAR means to be. Let's take a look at the first one. You'll notice they all have the AR endings, normal AR endings. And you're going to say, wait a minute, Mr. Gardner. That verb ir, that's an IR verb. Look at there, and you have AR endings on it. And you remember from our video on IR endings that they were similar to the ER endings. They're O, S, E, then imos on the upper right, is in the middle there, and then en on the lower left. And you'll say, well, how come you've changed them now? That's because the verb ir is not an IR verb. It is a separate verb that means to go, and not to be confused with IR verbs such as venir, to come, and others that happen to end in the ending IR. Why they did this, why they named the verb ir, I don't know, but they did. And don't confuse it, it's an irregular verb. Dar means to give, and ESTAR means to be. ESTAR is only one of two verbs it means to be in Spanish, and if you look at the video ESTAR and SER, you'll understand the difference between those two, and I'll tell you how those operate. Now, we have grouped these verbs here together because they all have the same thing in common. So we're going to conjugate them just like you normally would for the AR verbs. You take off the AR in the case of dar and ESTAR, and just add the ending on. So the conjugated forms of these verbs will look like this. In the case of the irregular verb ir over on the left, you'll notice it's vas, va, vamos, vais, van. Vas, you go. Va, he goes or she goes. Nosotros vamos, we go. Vosotros vais, y'all go, and you're my friends and we live in Spain. Ustedes van, you all go. Ellos van, they go. I don't know why they named this verb ir. If I had been consulted in Spanish, I would have called this verb var. Var would make a lot more sense. It would almost be a regular AR verb. But for some reason, they didn't consult me in 300 AD when this language was beginning to develop in the Roman Empire. I don't know why they didn't consult me. Maybe it's because I wasn't alive at that time. So they called it ir instead of var. But you'll notice it follows a regular AR pattern. Dar, to give, is the same thing. Tú das, you give. Él da, he gives. Usted da, you give, and you're not my friend. Ella da, she gives. Then up on the plural side, nosotros damos, vosotros dais. Ellos, they give. Ellos dan. And then to be, tú estás, you are. Él está, he is. Ella está, she is. Usted está, oh, that one means you are. But it still uses está in the lower left. Nosotros estamos, we are. Vosotros estáis, you all are, and you're my friends and we live in Spain. And ellos están, they are, or ustedes están, you all are. Now, as I mentioned before, the vosotros forms of these verbs you don't have to remember for my classes, although you will note that they're not that difficult to remember. What these three verbs have in common, and the reason why we call them irregular verbs, is that the yo form is hoy and not just an o, as you would normally expect. Yo voy, I go, or I'm going. Yo doy, I'm giving, or I give. Yo estoy, I am. So that is what these verbs have in common, the irregular hoy form for the yo. Otherwise, they act just like AR verbs. In our next video, I'm going to give you some opportunity to practice with these verbs. This is a theory, and you may want to put these in your notes, and we'll see it in the practice video in just a couple seconds. Thanks for watching.